What a crazy time we're in right now with all of these strikes, right? Boeing striking, Amazon striking, the longshoremen are striking, and it's having this huge ripple effect on everyone's family, the economy. To think about like with the longshoremen, how it's going to like increase the cost of everything, right? Immediately costs start going up because of imports and exports. And then look at Boeing. They're like the largest manufacturer. And look at all these people that aren't working. And on top of just the strike people, talk about what they're doing with the employees and like how they're doing a rotation of furloughs. Like there's craziness going on. And then we've got Amazon, right? Again, a big way where we get a lot of our products and things delivered to us. And not to mention like all the technology advancements that they have. It's just nuts. Like everything, I remember back in, you know, 2019 COVID days, everyone would be like, oh, this is the new norm. Oh, this is the new norm about things. What if the constant change is the new norm, right? Think about that. Like I talk to executives and business owners all day long, and they're feeling it. They're feeling the stress. They're feeling the cost shifts and changes. They're feeling the technology shifts and changes. The state of where we're at and what's going on right now, not to mention the political environment, the culture shifts we're all going through. And it made me start thinking about this like, what the frick, right? But the signs were all there. They've been there for well over a decade, actually. I remember being in a meeting with the board in a boardroom, and we were discussing like the new market, new people coming to market. It was the financial industry. And we were talking about new people coming into the market. We were talking about how the culture of our employees was changing, how hard it was to find people with the same skills, right? We just like filling the company with abled, intelligent people. And then also like looking at the shift in the market and how the market was changing and the messaging had to change. Like everything started having to change rapidly. And there were so many shifts. And it was just crazy looking around the room and seeing people's minds blown in a board meeting. These are people that are in so many different industries. And they were just like, oh my gosh, it was just this aha moment. And I remembered like being like, I don't know what was just said, but I clearly struck a note. And then I was like, what are we going to do about it? Right. And so then that was the rest of the week. We just spent trying to figure out what to do about it. And as we see that all those years ago to now, you can see who did something about it. Right. Because the world, society as a whole has changed. We've seen that consistently confirmed in how people behave. They're buying, they're living, like the things they say, the things they do, everything has changed. And if you're not changing, eventually you're going to have a problem because the expectation of society is here and you've been sheltered in your company or your corporation and not been impacted by this. But because society changes, it's being forced upon you. This could be forced upon you through how your employment base of being able to hire people for your industry, right? Maybe it's the way you implement technology. Maybe it's in the products you produce as a whole, and maybe it's all of them, right? I mean, I can dig deeper into each of these companies and look at kind of what went into that. That's not what I'm going to talk about today, although I already did it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. It's been like a week, and I'm like, ah. But when you look at this, the one thing we can consistently see is the societal shift, and it's not going to change. It's not going back. So those of you who've been holding on, it's not going back. The way people are feeling about it, they're not only speaking it, but now they're acting on it. And then on top of that, we have these huge opportunities for massive culture shift inside of our companies, inside of our own mindset. And a lot of people are feeling so insecure and unstable because it's just constant change, constant change. This year alone, and I warned everybody back in the spring But this year alone was going to be massive. There was going to be a lot of energy. There was going to be a lot of change. There was going to be a lot of erratic decisions made that were going to be very public. And we consistently are seeing that showing up, right? And these decisions and these things being said, they're having impacts on all of us. And it's like, do you know what you're responsible for? Right. And then at the same time, those of us who are responsible for it, it's like, oh my God, what did I just do? That's not what I meant, but it's being changed. It's shifting because the way people communicate has changed. There are so many labels out there, right? Just a job label. It was really funny. I was talking to someone today, and there's a difference between being a project manager and having your PMP. And there's a difference of like how those people think, how they act, how they behave. And then inside each industry, it's also different. So in some industries, everyone's a project manager. And in other industries, only elite are, right? Like it's just all over the place for where these titles fall. And like looking at everyone's titles inside of our companies and who we're hiring, it's a challenge, right? Like, what do titles mean anymore? And so when I'm going through all of this, and I'm looking at what's going on with all these companies and I'm looking at how it's having an impact on us. And then I was like, well, how's it impacting us? Like my companies. And it's crazy because you know what I found? I found that people are really going out on their own, right? Executives, highly skilled employees in different varying spaces in the industry, they're tired, right? For various reasons. Not going to reveal them all, right? But they're tired. And so they're all starting their own ventures. They're either writing books, starting podcasts, doing something creative, starting businesses. We've seen all of our workshops increasing, all of our programs increasing as people are trying to find their own true, authentic self, increase their awareness, and also being able to start something on their own or have some way of expressing how like their life, their experiences and their thoughts. I think it's wonderful. I think that we should all do that. I also think that if you're inside of a company, this is a major opportunity to bring in new knowledge, new strategies, new ways of looking at the culture, analyzing that, and figuring out what is the shift that's right for your company. Because there's shifts we all have to make. I've made a lot of them in my companies, right? But as we make those shifts, what is the strategy? What's the data you're using to make that? And does it make sense? And let's not forget intuition because that also gets missed a lot. You can have like street smarts and you can have book smarts, but you need both when you're leading, right? We all know that. You have to have those human skills. You have to be able to influence. You have to be able to make decisive decisions. And at the same time, you also have to be able to analyze the data. You have to be able to um, think strategically, look ahead into the future. You have to have a network of strong people around you who you can also have candid conversations with and to, like help you either through the thing because they've already gone through it or understand what's going on in some of these other industries and how it's going to impact you. Because we're having a massive impact in America, massive by all of these. It'll be interesting to see how this all continues to unfold. I get calls from people inside these unions and they're telling me some of these things, and I'm like, that'll be interesting. Let the chips fall. Anyways, I just wanted to say that as I was sitting here analyzing it and thinking about it, I was like, what are other people doing? What are other people thinking? Like, how is this impacting your business? How is this impacting your leadership? Right? It's having an impact on everyone. So put your thoughts, share them. I want to hear them.